So we had duck for Easter dinner. And here's some of the bones that are left. I mean, that's a pretty good piece right there. This is a piece off of a leg, a little piece of breast right there. And we're going to make duck fricassee today. What you want to do is you want to roast your vegetables first, and I mean roast them. See the dark spots on here from roasting them in some oil. This is 1 onion, 3 carrots, and 3 stalks of celery. This is the pan after roasting. You see all that wonderful brown in there? Roast it on medium high and let it brown, and that's all flavor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that duck that was over there, and we're going to take the other duck that was left over. So now what I've done is I've gone ahead and I froze the pieces that I didn't use last night or yesterday for Easter dinner. You've got the gizzard right here, and the heart and the liver. You got the neck, I chopped it in half right here. You have the back and then a couple pieces of fat in the wing. Then you have the leftover parts. Now these haven't been fried, but those have been baked. So we're going to go ahead and fricassee these. We're going to sprinkle a little flour on them, some salt and pepper. We're going to put them in the pan. We're going to fry them until they get some nice flavor on them. We're going to take them out. We're going to put in the vegetables. We're going to put these back in, cooked. We're going to put in 2 cups of bouillon. You could use anything you like for a liquid, an alcoholic beverage or whatever. I like to use bouillon. And then we're going to put it in the oven at about 300 degrees and leave it there for a bazillion hours. So you want to be careful shaking this around, because these bones can be sharp. You know, the neck bones and back bones, and there's ribs in there and stuff. But just shake it around until all the flour coated it nicely. And now you're not going to have to use much oil. We'll put a little tiny bit of oil in there, but not much. There's just no reason to do that, because the fat in the chicken skin or the duck skin is going to be adequate. So put about a tablespoon of oil in your pan. This is the pan you cook the vegetables in. Turn it up to 6, so that's kind of medium high on my stove. A little bit more than medium. Let it heat up, and then we're going to put the duck in there that hasn't been cooked, that we saved from yesterday, the parts, and the heart and the gizzard, and we're going to brown them until we get them nice and browned all around. Then we're going to add the vegetables and the stock and let it bake. At this point, you can probably preheat your oven to 300 degrees. Okay, all the pieces have been added to the pan, and we're just going to let those cook on medium heat, or a little bit more than medium heat. Nice piece of fat and skin. Let them release their juices until we get some nice color on them. Once we do that, we'll take them out. We'll go ahead and pour in the chicken stock and add all the vegetables. Forgot to mention, after this is done, then get a can of tomato paste. You're going to put the tomato paste in there, take the meat out, put the tomato paste in there, and brown the tomato paste. Get it brown so it gets some flavor. The whole concept of this meal is flavor through the bottom of the pan. You can see in there the brown that's in there from the vegetables. Don't move your meat too early. The meat will break free as it's ready to turn. You'll be able to touch it and it won't be stuck to the pan. See, that's stuck to the pan right there? You just want to let it cook until it's not stuck to the pan anymore. It will move freely. And then we're going to put our tomato sauce in there. Not sauce, I'm sorry, tomato paste. Brown it really good. And then we're going to add everything back in, including the stock. See, so we're just checking in on it. Browning up. It's getting some really nice flavor down in there. And we're going to pour all this grease off. You don't want all this duck grease in your stew. Looks good. It's coming along. So this looks pretty good to me. What we're going to do is take these out. Got some nice browning in the pan. You don't want to put the big fat pieces of skin back in your soup. Don't, because that can cause you to have a lot of, grease and whatever floating around in your nice fricassee. But you want to fricassee that one a little bit more. So that's what we're left with, and we're going to pour off that grease, and then we're going to put the tomato paste in there. Alright, so we got the tomato paste in there, and we're going to just roast it. Make some more flavor in the bottom of that pan. It'll just be beautiful. Tomatoes roasted. Now we're going to pour in 2 cups of stock. Get all those flavors. I use Knox chicken bouillon. And we're going to stir that around and get all the nice bits off the bottom of that pan. Then we're going to put in our vegetables and the duck, along with the older duck and along with the livers. And that. So as it comes up to you don't want it really boiling. Probably set it on low, and as it steams, you want to scrape off all that wonderful browning that was down there. See it? Right there. You want to get all that off the pan so the bottom of the pan is relatively clean, and before you add everything else. It's just been a couple minutes. See how clean the bottom of the pan is? You got all your flavor now in your sauce. Now you're going to add the meat back in like this. That's the wishbone, gizzard and heart, like that. This is the other meat, the roasted duck that we had last night. I'll stick that down in there. It's got to be covered, because the bones and the meat that's left over is what gives you all your flavor. And there's nothing wrong with making a little fricassee out of that. Any leftover meat, like look at that piece of meat on there, that'll turn into really nice flavor in soup. You're going to pull all the bones out when you're done anyway. Now we're going to add the vegetables back in. Alright, now I had a red pepper, which I really like. It's just red bell pepper, and it's not in the recipe, but it adds a little sweetness and just a really nice little element and dimension to your fricassee. You remember we added 2 cups of stock already. Now you've got to add 2 cups of water, or you bring the water up to where it's level. It covers everything. So that's about right, see? Covers everything. If you don't, you're going to have one dried out, concentrated piece of soup. It won't be fun. Or fricassee. Now we're going to take the gizzards, or the livers. These are the livers. Just place them in there on top. We won't want they just add so much flavor. It's one of my favorite parts of this. Some people don't like it. It doesn't matter. You can take them out afterwards and throw it away if you don't like it. Now we're going to put the lid on it and put it in the oven. Alright, so you're going to put the lid on it. You're going to stick it in the oven at 300 degrees for about 2 to 3 hours until all the meat has fallen off of the bones and it's just reduced down by about half. Alright, I think it's done. Oh, that looks great. Duck, fricassee duck. You can tell it's done as you pick these bones up and you see the meat that was on there, and it just slips right off. And what you're going to do is you're going to take out the meat, the bones, and you're going to take off all the meat, throw the bones away, put the meat back in there, and serve it up with some rice. Beautiful. Fricassee duck. Try some. Shipping out. There it is. Fricassee duck and brown rice. Bon appetit.